Yeah, it was a great night. I mean, I think, it starts with me with Vahn Lackey and ends with Vahn Lackey, obviously. But, all the four guys that touched the ball, really proud of them, coming off the weekend. We talked to the team a ton about just the way they respond, right? You lose a game, what's your response to it? And thought we responded. I think it was a really mature effort from our guys that they didn't get outside themselves. A lot of guys had great individual performances, but, I really felt like we just kind of took what the defense gave us all night. The fun part is what Vahn means to our program. He's a special dude, works his tail off, and he's one of the best teammates. You talk about the baseball side, and that's a big part of it, but you talk about just what he means to our team, what he's going to mean to our program 10 years from now. He's just a special dude. So I think it's cool for these guys to know that they're a part of a game like this. And just the word joy comes to mind when it comes to Vahn, is just how he's gone about since the day he stepped on campus. He's helped change this place, and it's a great note. We're ready for a big weekend. It's a great test for us. I mean, we're leaning in, man. I mean, this is the fun time of the year. You get to go play in a great atmosphere, face a great team, great program, great coaching staff. We're excited for it.
How did that discussion come about of having Vahn play all 8 positions?
Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of, I've seen a couple guys do it. And Buster Posey's one that, it was the year before I got to Florida State, and it's 10 years ago, or 10 years later, they're talking about it, and it's a guy that was great. He was versatile, but he also had a huge future ahead of him. And I told Vahn, I said, man, the next chance you're probably gonna have to do that is gonna be in the big leagues one day. And I hope a lot of his teammates are in attendance of that game years down the road.
Great turnaround by your bullpen. No hits. I think maybe 70% of the pitches were strikes, and of course Charlie Wilcox really looked strong.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to the guys a lot about, it's all about their response, and the analogy I like to use is kind of like your car lane assist, like nudging you back. A lot of times you start veering off for one outing, for one game, and really all you need is that steering wheel vibrates a little bit and you just nudge it back on the road. And so a lot of these guys, it wasn't even them making adjustments. It's more about, hey, just go back to being who you are. And so I think that once again, it takes maturity. It takes confidence to go out there and say, hey, if I didn't throw it well last time I touched it. But no, that group is deep. We trust that group a ton. The internal voices and the things that matter are totally behind that group, and I'm expecting to see a really good showing out of them this weekend.
What does it say about the versatility of your group, that as you're moving Vahn around, you're really not having to sub guys in and out as well? Like, guys are just kind of moving positions within the field already.
Yeah, they're all lobbying too at some point. And really, Schulman on the infield's done a great job, honestly, all fall, where guys were basically positionless. They were every day, they worked around. We've always kind of done that in the outfield. It's a little easier to move guys around, and that's been a huge strength of the team, is guys can play multiple positions, guys are super athletic, and so you're talking about, Hernandez probably is the next guy that, other than catching, could do it. And then you have Baker, who's played, I think, 5 or 6 of them already this year. He was lobbying for a first base at the end, and I'm like, well, dude, I got to have you play shortstop. So good problem to have. But no, I think it shows, though, that those guys were so willing to move. It was 1 out, and instead of 2 outs, was going to move Lackey, and he kind of told me I went off script on him, and I said, well, McKelvey does give up a lot of backside balls, and I didn't want to put him in a spot where maybe he got the play at the burst. Maybe it was an unbelievable play, and Vaughn's throwing his hands up at me. He's like, you told me 2 outs. There's only 1 out. So, no, the guys were having fun with it, but they didn't make it bigger than the game, because Vahn Lackey is a ACC above average defender at all 8 of those positions.
You mentioned joy, fun, and that's a lot about what college baseball is a lot. We've talked about it with, making sure some of these guys who've been here around, they're going to be working this as a job by this time next year. And talk to me a little bit about how much fun this game and how good this kind of thing is for college baseball.
Yeah, the sport's growing a ton, and I think that's, you hit the nail on the head. Like, we always talk about making memories. I mean, these guys are going to put this jersey on, and that was the pregame speech. I'm like, guys, we all talk about how much we love this team, and we talk about playing at home and loving this. This is our last home game for 2 weeks, and we're going to go on a big road trip. I said, leave these fans with something. That we've had great crowds. We want them to continue to do that, but no, I mean, it's the memories in the locker room. It's the post-game music. It's they were spending time with each other yesterday on their off day. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so when you look at a guy like Vahn that is going to go have a huge career after this, but yet plays the game like a little kid. I think that's something that, you know, it's a coach's dream. And once again, like as serious as the game is, and we play a tough brand of baseball, you got to still play with freedom. And I think that's something Vahn does so well. When you ask him to go play different positions, he doesn't make too much of it. He just goes out there and continues to have fun with it.
You mentioned that a lot about playing with, you know, freedom and all that. How much is that important to your guys' success?
Yeah, I think you got to trust them. I think like that's one of the staples of things I've learned along the way through my own playing career is you love playing for guys that instill things in you and they help you strategically but at the end of the day they got to be your biggest cheerleaders. And I think that's kind of my whole thing is I love empowering guys and I love saying, hey, you know, we run set pieces, meaning we have things all put on a hit and run here, there, but a lot of it's basically you have the green light to run. You can bunt when the situation presents itself. Caleb Daniels swings 3-0. He knows me. I literally look at him and I'm like, be smart. And he looks at me, he keeps looking at me and I go, yeah, sure, you can swing, but you got to be smart. And he was. And so I think but those are things like 2 months down the road, Caleb Daniels is going to hit a 3-0 double. And it's going to be because he had the ability to do it now. And we've had guys that make 3-0 outs. And like, you've got to be able to fail and not fear when you jog back in that dugout, you're going to be chastised for something. And I think that really shows through with the way our guys play.
Clemson series is a quicker turnaround than normal, starts on Thursday. Was there any change in the pitching plan for maybe keeping arms a little bit more rested coming into a short turnaround on Thursday?
Yeah, not specifically, although any midweek, I mean, Dimitri Angelakos, I mean, like for him to keep giving us length in the midweek, I mean, you look at all these upsets that happen, a lot of times you're talking about TBA starters and the first inning doesn't go well. I mean, he's an unbelievably competitive guy and can't say good enough things about him. Like, you just trust him. I mean, he controls the game. He does a little shimmy shake and leg kick and a quick step. Like, he just is really savvy. And, you know, you're talking about like state champion, guy that's pitching a lot of big games. I mean, he is like, he may be like cool walking off the mound, but he is as competitive as it comes. You're talking about like all-state basketball player in Cobb County. And so, yeah, I think it started with him. I mean, just realistically, you're able to do that. And Charlie Wilcox, man, I mean, we believe in that dude. I mean, that dude could have been our Sunday starter to start the year. I mean, that's how much faith we have in him. He's got great stuff. And I think for these young guys, like, we have a long-term plan in mind. Like, it's win now mode, but it's like, hey, if Charlie Wilcox is sitting here and now all of a sudden he gets a weekend start or a Tuesday start, I mean, all those things are in the plans for us going forward.
How much did you want the cycle for Vahn there and that last
Worse than he, you know, no, I mean, the coolest part, though, is like he actually had a good approach. He stayed with it. That was basically the exact type of swing you want to take off that pitcher, a little lower slot, kind of sinking the ball in. You want to get it out over the plate. And, you know, I mean, I think that's where the game knows. I mean, he'll get rewarded in one way, shape, or form. And, you know, Burris has been close to it as well. So it's fun to see his teammates and the fans. I mean, the coolest part is the fans start catching on, and they're applauding Vahn and got more or less a standing ovation in that final inning. Like, that's the thing that we're growing here is like just the awareness of get behind this team. We'll kind of provide the entertainment factor, and people are definitely coming along for the ride.
And there's a chance of letting him pitch there at the end. Was there any thought about
Yeah,
that?
well, so initially it came up, him and I are sitting at a dinner, and before we went to Team USA, and I said, hey man, like, I've already kind of had this in the works and thinking about it, and I said, you're going to play all 8. And it's like a bite of food, and then he has that big smile. And then, no, literally he goes, well, what about, and I cut him off. I said, no, we ain't doing pitching. I said, we're doing 8. And I said, you'll be just fine doing that. And so, no, that's the cool part. And he was like, he had that, yeah, you're right, you're right. But no, I think that was the fun part of it as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were adamant he wasn't pitching, but how cool was it to hear the fans kind of try to push you to make that decision, even though it wasn't going to happen, but the fans were engaged?
Yeah, no, that's the cool part is like you want them to, once again, be entertained, but you also want them to feel a part of it. And so I think it's no different than when Parker Brocious has been coming in games. He's like a fan favorite. He deserves that. He's been a starter in this program. He's everything that's right about Georgia Tech baseball. So like I love when he gets the acknowledgement. CD comes in, fans are doing the whole, clapping with his walk-up song, and the dude hits a pump. I mean, it's pretty sick, like that he's providing the action for people. So we got so many guys. I mean, that's like, it is good stress, but it's stressful. I mean, I hate having to keep Caleb Daniel out of the starting lineup. I hate not being able to give Parker Brocious more bats. I don't like any of the decisions that get to be made with lineup, 8 through 12. It's building for something bigger, and these guys, I mean, like the word mudita of like they're taking the pleasure from watching their other guys have success. Like this team, I haven't had to have a single conversation. I haven't had a single guy walk in the cage and kind of shrug his shoulders. And so, like, that is what tells me that come June, this team's going to be ready to go.
It's a better stress than starting ACC play at 1-5 a couple years ago. Better
Yeah,
stress than
no,
that,
I mean, we joke with people like, you know, if you weren't here with us during Presbyterian in the 8th inning, right, down 3 and grinding after 6 straight, you know, league losses, and that was a team that was good. That was a team that made a regional final, and that was a team that I think a lot of times people lost belief in maybe what we were doing from the process side. We were playing guys young, and that was, you know, we tell a story of like, you know, Taylor, you know, down bad, and I got my head in my hands, and I just pop up and kind of said, we're going to win. And everybody's like, what do you mean we're going to win? We had one, and I'm like, we're going to be fine. And part of it is, like I mentioned, you know, after the loss, you got to be realistic and optimistic. In this game, you can't play, you know, you can't play outside of reality, and you can't play down and negative about what could be. And so, man, I think this group has been through so much, and I think that's why they're enjoying every piece of this. And like I said, they're excited for this series this weekend.